think we can start now. So, welcome everyone again. This is the first of the series of Collab PM Talks, which is an initiative from PM clubs of ABCL. So, the first webinar we're doing is on for the PM internship. How to is the internship? So, we have with us Manisha, Ankur, Sandeep, and also Pradeep, who are from IMB, and they are the recent pass outs from IIM Bangalore. So Ankur and Manisha are going to start their career with Microsoft, and they have interned with Microsoft in summers. Sandeep interned with Amazon in summers, and he's joining Myntra now. And Pradeep has interned with Sprinkler, and he's already joined Sprinkler and started his career with Sprinkler. So the basic. So this is one of the first webinar we are doing. So we would be going forward. We would be doing more of these kind of webinars as a collaboration from all the PM clubs. So the intention here is to actually grow the PM community we have here. So as you know, so there are many myths around product management. As you know, like regarding say people think that you need to be techie to go into a product management role, or say you need to be from something department. So we want to break all those and also bring some of the great minds in this sector to give talks on topics which are of interest for us. So without any further ado, I'll pass this on to Ankur to take this forward. And I'll also thank all the panelists for accepting this request and helping us stage here.
Okay. So we have a small, like, you guys can hear me, right?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. So we have a small slide that we have prepared. We'll start off with that. I think Manisha will cover the first few slides, and then I'll cover the last two, and then we'll move on to question and answer.
Yeah. Hi guys, Manisha here. So we have 1 hour to set the context. First 20 minutes we would be talking about like our experience, some tricks and tips that that we could come up with how this can help you ace this internship. And then the later 40 minutes will be used for answering specific question and answers that you people have. So I'll start with the presentation. It's a deck. It covers, it has pointers into what we wanted you all to know in this short period of time. Yeah, let's move to the first slide. Yeah, so a typical PM internship focuses on these 3 things. First and foremost is to focus on business. What I mean by this is concentrating on what's and why's rather than how's. So if a problem statement is given to you, please try and question what is the real problem there and why are they trying to solve it in the first place, rather than jumping onto how to solve it. That will give you a lot of clarity as to what is the exact problem that the company is facing or the user is facing, and why is it important to solve it. This will also generate insights like, you know, what is the path you should take? Should you understand your client or the user, or should you go into technicalities and get your tech base correct? So this is the starting point. This should be the starting point of your PM internship. You should always look. You should also look around. What is the impact of your internship? So let's say whatever problem statement is given, you delivered, and then so what? So those kind of questions are the things you should start with, and then gradually move into nitty-gritties of the project, like how to do it and what should be the timeline, what should be whether it should be a phased approach or not. So in my opinion, focus on the business aspect of the product. It will help you find, it will help you navigate the internship in a smoother manner, and it will also enable you to ask the right questions right from the beginning of your internship. Next is goals. So I have interacted with a lot of interns this year as well, and the main question that they ask is how to know what exactly is the deliverable, because when you start, you're given with a problem statement, and you can take different branches from there. So to have a successful internship, it's very important for you to know what is the final expectation of the manager or mentor, and then you navigate the 2 months that you have to reach there. If you do not know what your final deliverables are, it gets very difficult to plan things accordingly. So what happens is, in the middle of the internship, or just before 2 or 3 weeks, you realize that your mentor or your manager expects something else, and then now you don't have that time to research or change things, because you have already lost the time that you had. So from the beginning only, make sure all three of you or two of you are in the same page. And I understand that things change during the internship, but just make sure you're communicating well with your manager and mentor, so that they know what you're doing and you also exactly know what they're expecting. Next is multiple roles. So typically a PM internship covers most or some of the things mentioned in the deck, like user survey, understanding customer expectation, understanding the pain point, and then researching like how are other companies doing it, or what is the best way to do it, and what is the lacuna here. Designing prototypes. A lot of companies ask interns to, before even going to feature implementation, just design a small prototype, which it's like a POC, which you can present like a proof of concept, that if this is done, this is going to be the impact. Always try to quantify the impact, and everything that you're presenting should be backed up by proper data. That is when people will start taking you seriously. You should always present facts or like stats, so that each thing you say is well backed up, and you can answer each question that people ask you, like why are you even suggesting this, what is the data that shows that this is the correct way, what are the comparisons that you have done, and try to quantify it if possible, to show mathematically, or to show data tells that this is your research in a precise way, and that is why you have taken this path, and how that is going to lead to good results. Then comes feature implementation, and of course business or pricing model development, if asked for. So it's not necessary that all of these have to be followed, but yeah, here and there, almost this is the thing that is done in a typical PM internship. Can you move to the next slide? Yes. Now the important question is the virtual approach. Like this year, I understand it is very different for you guys. For us, we were present there physically, so a lot of things were very easy for us. We took a lot of things for granted, but for you guys, it is different. And but again, every problem is an opportunity in itself, and you can use various tools and methods to make yourself more effective in these times. Yeah, the bottom line here is communication. You need to have super regular communication with people in workplace. With that, what I want to say is your touch points. So your touch points are your manager or mentor, and the team you're working with, and the engineering team that you might be connected to, or your peers there. So it's very important that you regularly talk to almost everybody present. Don't, one of my advices would be, don't channel all your questions to one person in office. People should know that, you know, you are an intern and you're working on this, and hence you're interacting with a lot of people. And from that interaction, you're also going to get a lot of different insights, because they are different stakeholders and their point of view about the same thing might be different. So it helps you get a better perspective on what you're doing, because you just have 2 months and those guys have been spending like an year or two in that platform and in that setting. So talking to more people will give you more context and will give you more data points to talk about or to present, and more perspective in the lines of which you can think. Contact all people in the same department. This is because of the fact that, you know, each person, like the engineering team will have a different take on your project. The product management team will have a different take. Your manager can have a different take. And if you have any other stakeholders like users, clients, or testing team, then please pester them. Set meetings with them regularly, and keep talking to them. Keep taking their feedback on what you're doing. You might not implement all of them, but it makes sense to know what they think about what you are doing, and if there is any way to make it better, or if something is not making sense, then they will be the first people to call it out. So you don't want all of this to happen on the day of your presentation. So this is like taking everybody's view into picture even before you present your final findings to your manager or like the panel. Super regular communication, increasing the frequency of communication. So you might realize that you're someone who they have never talked to. They don't see you. They have never seen you in office. So the only time they remember you is the meetings that you would set with them. So I would advise you to have like weekly ones with your manager for sure. And you can have a structure to that meeting. So don't just block 30 minutes and, you know, blabber around. You can you should also respect his time. So you can have an agenda set that you should send it out before sending the meeting invite. And you can talk about specific things. For example, I made some notes. Like what I used to do is I would talk about 3 things: what I did this week, how does it tie into my final output, next what I will do the next week. And then I also informed him about all the interactions I had with other people, what I learned from, let's say, a user or some person from some other team which is connected to my project, and the blockades that you have. So let's say you are trying to do something, but you don't have the proper tools or you don't have the approach. Then you tell him that I need this, and if you know somebody who can help me with this, please do connect me to him, because you don't know which person does what, and the manager is the best person to give you that information. So all of this, if you say he will so at the end of each week, your manager should exactly know like what you've done this week, where are you, in which stage of the project are you in, and like, are you comfortable, what are you learning. Also take this opportunity to tell that I learned this is what I am experiencing, this is what I'm liking, this is what I'm not liking. So make it a conversation and take feedback. So the purpose of this is to have regular feedback and not feedback just in midterm and end term. So because you really don't have time to change things if you get late feedback. So keep communicating, even email communication, meeting communication, whatever works best. Find out the best time, and just keep your manager in the same page, and tell him upfront that I'm this kind of a person who likes having getting feedback on the flow. So whenever you feel like I'm doing something right or something wrong, please do let me know, and I would change my approach accordingly. Yeah, I'm done. Ankur, can you? Yeah. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah. So are we covering the midterm and the final review? So I'm guessing a lot of you must be learning the midterm right now, right? Because it's been almost 4 weeks since we started. I'll share the approach that I carried out for my midterm. So basically, for my midterm, what I've done was I had prepared a presentation document which highlighted all the work that I've done in the past 4 weeks, and so that included competitor research, and that included talking to a few customers and then summarizing their findings. So the idea of the midterm was to show the manager what, like, the breadth of the work that I had done. Okay. Because obviously expected the entire project to be over in 8 weeks. So if you show that you have covered the breadth of the work in the first 4 weeks, you can carry out the remaining part in the next 4 weeks. So I had also shown in future plans what I expect to do in the next 4 weeks, which was talking to more customers, developing prototypes, and writing a final specification document. And the entire point, I mean, the most important part, if the takeaway from this is that uh, you have to display confidence of achieving your goals throughout the entire review. Because if you doubt yourself, then obviously your manager uh, how can your manager expect you to complete the work? Is my voice audible?
There's a little disturbance. Yeah,
Hello.
Ankur. I think there was a little.
Now is it better?
Yeah, it is better. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll continue
Yeah.
now. Yeah. So I'm saying that the one takeaway that you can from this entire thing about the midterm is that you have to display confidence of achieving your goals. So you have to set high goals and then you have to display confidence of achieving them. Because if you doubt yourself, then how can your manager or mentor trust you? Right? So after your presentation, so my presentation lasted for maybe 15, 20 minutes where I just showed everything and I told him what I plan to do in the next 4 weeks. And after that, then the manager is going to give you feedback about what is good and what is bad. And then using that feedback, then you structure the next 4 weeks that you have. So a few case studies. So someone in one of our co-interns actually found out after the midterm that they were on the wrong path completely. And of course, it's a very tough spot to be in at that point of time because you realize that what you've been doing is not relevant. So, but there is still time, right? After the midterm, also you still have time to structure everything so that you come back on the right path, and then for the final review, you can perform as expected by the manager. So moving on to the final review, Ankit. Yeah. So once your midterm review is over and you have your last 4 weeks left for your internship. So what I specifically tried to do was I tried to finish the project well in advance. And the reason for that was because if you finish it well in advance, you have enough time to get it checked and carry out reiteration, uh, opinions coming from other people in your team. So I finished the project about 2 weeks in advance, and I showed it around to the engineering team, showed it around to the design team, and so they gave their input, and then based on that, then you structure your final presentation. And so one of the
One
most
second,
important,
Ankur,
yeah.
one second. Can others who are not speaking, can you please go on mute? They are not able to hear. Except Ankur, please, everyone. Yeah, Ankur, please go ahead.
Okay. So again, one takeaway, if you had to, from this entire slide would be that during your final review, show the business logic. So what happened with me was, I made a tech doc. My manager said it's too tech heavy. And he said, where is the business justification for whatever you're doing? And so then I had to restructure the entire tech doc to show that, to bring the entire business part uh, in on the top. Because when you see the document, they're going to be questioning you, why should we invest in this? Why should we put money in this project? So the business logic is probably the most important thing, which, at least according to me, was for the entire project. And once you have your final review, then you just document all the work, whatever you've done. So, and just wait for the final conclusion, whatever they decide. So again, that's it from my side, at least for the midterm and final review aspect. So I guess we can move on to the questions and answers.
Okay, Ankur. So yeah, we have one question.
Okay, let me take that. I'm Pradeep, intern in Sprinkler, and now I'm working in Sprinkler. So there was a question from Snehal, yeah, about benchmarking the IT systems. So I had a similar topic, but it was not IT system as such, but benchmarking or products or features, which most of the product managers would be doing. So what I did was, all of the product managers will know that this is a very difficult task, because most of the players don't have this information readily online. So what they're looking out is, you have to they have to know how much effort you put in, and you should give a honest try, because your information you're trying to get could be lying anywhere on social media, or even I checked out product release talks in YouTube, blogs, etc. The one thing extra you could do is go into LinkedIn, check whether any employee from that company which you're researching about has joined your organization. Then you can ping them through your communication channels and could try out. They won't probably revealing information which is not which is probably very secret or something, but you could probably get some information which is a good way to get some benchmarking idea. Apart from that, if you have any idea, the others could add onto this.
Oh, hello?
Yes,
Yeah.
Ankur. You're audible.
Yeah. So just one aspect. What I did was, I similar to what Pradeep did, use chat rooms and use all these forums. Also go through the website. If you have a friend in the company, contact the friend. Get some insider information if possible. Try to subscribe to their product and try to act as a customer and get all that sort of information. Whatever is still legal and doesn't land you up in jail. So,
Yeah. So we have one more question from Vishal. So he's asking if you guys can give us an idea about what summer projects were like. Your summer projects were like.
Okay. Yeah, let me take that. So product management, as you would have already known, it could vary from business side, and also it could be on technical side. I had experience on both. So business side, the product manager in Sprinkler especially had a wide range of activities under them. So what I should do was, I should talk with my sales team. So sales team didn't have much knowledge on the product. So it's a role of a product manager to make the sales team understand the features and then how it could be sold. So that was one where I worked with the sales team, prepared a pitch deck, so that the customers can easily understand our product. So that was one of the project I did. If others could add,
Yeah.
Ankur, Manisha.
Yeah. So my project, so I worked on Bing.com. So my project was to quantify what impact a particular, so if you see Bing or Google, you find in the side there is a summary of whatever is there in the page. So they call it the knowledge pane. So what is the impact of knowledge pane for every user? So I had to make a mathematical model that can quantify how important is knowledge pane for a Bing user. The purpose of this was to figure out whether that is the area in the whole real estate where we can give ads, or what other data points, if given to a user, is more helpful. How do you make that knowledge pane more user friendly, so that they should not just be seeing the user pane, they should also be able to interact with it. So to take those kind of decisions, it was important for the company to know how many people actually look at the knowledge pane, how they interact with it, to understand that, so that they can bring in more features and bring in more data points to their whole experience. Yeah.
And
I would, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, so my project specifically was to make Azure monitoring faster. And so it involved uh, activities ranging from consulting all the way to marketing. So talking to customers, getting the requirements, competitor research, and then designing prototypes, designing features in Figma, and then developing the business logic, pricing model, testing model, the entire post release plan, the entire range of activities, ranging all the way from talking to customers to releasing.
Sandeep?
Hello. Yeah. Hi everyone. I'm Sandeep. I did my internship at Amazon, and Amazon. I worked in the Amazon wholesale team. Uh, are you guys able to hear me? Sorry.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, cool. So I worked in Amazon wholesale team. It's a new startup wing of Amazon. So launched only in Bangalore. Amazon there in that space acts as an intermediary between Kirana shops and FMCG brands. The space where where generally the wholesalers used to be, Amazon entered into that space and started supplying to retail shops. So my project is mostly the mix of PM and strategy side. So I had to do competitive analysis, and I had to tell them, just because they were in the recent stages, my project was to tell them which process and product features that they have to develop, which are necessary and which could be dropped, which they are currently doing, and what is the cost advantage arising out of that. So also I was responsible for introducing some new features on the app that is used by the last mile people for delivering. So this is mostly a brief overview of what I have did.
Okay. Thanks, guys. So we have another question from Abhinav. So he asks, like, what are the components of business logic, cost benefit analysis, TAM, qualitative pros? How extensive does it have to be?
So I can offer a bit of insight in that. So cost benefit you can try to do, of course, it depends on the product you're working for. Like if you're talking about specifically for my product, Azure, you can't quantify the benefit it will bring to someone, the feature that you're adding. But what you can try to do, you can try to come up with the costing. Again, these will be rough numbers because it's a new product. The company doesn't know how much it's going to cost in the near future, and so you can trying to come up with some comparative pricing based on what competitors uh, have released in the public domain. Come up with some sort of rough estimate of how much it's going to cost you, and then again a rough estimate of if you implement the feature, what the expected return is. Like let's say if you say that I'm making Azure 2 times faster in my feature, then you can try to come up with some sort of rough number of how much it will benefit customers financially. And in that way, then I guess you can justify the business logic. It doesn't have to be super expensive, but there has to be a component of it at least. And from my point of view, right in the start of the presentation.
I think if we can get one more perspective on this, if anyone can take it. Or we'll go with the next question. Yeah. Okay. So the next question is, given the short duration of the internship, how did you guys go about understanding the technical details of your product and that you could build features on top of it?
So there are two things that I have done to get on. I mean, to get on board or to understand very quickly what exactly they are doing and the technical things. One is to set up one-on-ones with most of the stakeholders. So if there is a dev team, have a one-on-one with them. If there is a customer support team, have a 1 hour or half an hour one-on-one with one of the guys. Understand the details. I mean, have one-on-ones with mainly with your mentor and your manager. They can help you a lot in that. And the second thing is the wikis or the Confluence pages which are there within the org. So ask your mentor which are the relevant ones for you to understand the technical details. Probably if there is a new release that you may have to work or add upon, then ask for the PRD or some wiki of that particular product release. You could understand most of the technical details over there, because generally PRDs are written very detail level. Yeah, if anyone can add, please.
Yeah. So, am I audible?
Yes, Manisha, you are.
Yeah. So, I also faced this issue. Like my project was also very technical. Like the team I was working with is very technical. So what I did was I utilized the first 2 weeks to understand what the technology does. I mean, yes, of course, this is very less time to understand the nitty-gritties of how that technology works or how you have to do something. But I don't think it is necessary for for us in a PM internship to understand that. The focus should be on what basically the technology is all about, what it can do, what are the possibilities, and don't get into very small things like implementation details, because that is a huge cycle, and if you start going in that path, it's very difficult to come back. So I would say focus on the important things, prioritize. If you need to understand a portion of the technology, then better spend time on that rather than spending all your time to build that ability to code in a particular technology. You don't need to do that. So yes, your best solution is to talk to your dev team and to understand why is the technology used and what all you can do for that, and what are the features, what are the implications, those kind of questions, rather than how do you code in this and other very technical questions, because you don't clearly have time for that. uh, and to build features, you don't need to know the hows again. You can just know how is this, using this technology is useful for you, or you can do a cost analysis of a comparative analysis, maybe like, should we use this or that? If you are using this technology, then why? So those kind of questions you should have an answer to.
One
Yeah.
one thing that I can say is just use the product if it's possible. If it's like for me, if it's Azure, then just sign up for an Azure account and then use the entire thing, because that will give you the user's perspective of what they see and what they feel. So in that way, then you can get enough knowledge about the product and how it works.
Thanks, guys. So we have another question. So owner of OnePlus 60 writes, my mentor is asking me to focus on the pricing and business model part rather than the focusing on the product side. So any suggestions on this?
I think we need more details on this because the question looks quite broad. Is it
Yeah.
based? Is it? Can he
Also,
add?
we need
Yeah.
to. I mean, he needs to look at his charter and understand what exactly his objective of the internship, and align with his mentor and manager.
Yeah, and also, guys, one request: if you could put your company, which company you're working for, that would also help in terms of people picking that up. Who's answering? Yeah.
And give a little more detail, like
Yeah.
broad question, so we're not able to answer particularly.
Yeah. Okay.
So
We'll go to the next
So-
question.
yeah.
Pradeep, go ahead. You want to?
No, even working on the, don't feel bad if you're working on the business side or the pricing side. It's again a part of a product manager. So product manager has to own the entire product. So even if the sales are going down, even if the revenues are not coming for the particular product, it's the work of a product manager. So don't feel bad if you're not building any features or fancy UIs. Still, you get to learn a lot if you're working on the business model part.
I mean, my product specifically, my project was a very business focused project. Uh, because again, it was not supposed to be very tech heavy because, the my manager also told me, focus on the business part. So again, that involved comparator research, a cost benefit, rough cost benefit analysis, model, business model, and all those components.
Yeah, also you can build use cases for each features you have, the possible use cases, like how a particular feature or a product would be used. All that would come under business model.
Hmm.
So if you could give more details, maybe we can answer particularly.
I don't see any other thing from the same person. Maybe we can go to the next question now. So before that, I think Vishal again asks. So Vishal asked about the business logic. Maybe Vishal, I'll pass on the contact of Ankur. Maybe he can connect over LinkedIn to get that answer again. Ankur, would you take that again? So he missed the business logic part of the last question.
Um, yeah, so I'll answer that again. So business logic. So basically, what the previous question was, it was about a cost benefit analysis. If you can do a cost benefit, rough cost benefit analysis of the product you're going to make, then you should show that out in your research. Of course, you can't get the exact one because it's a new product that you're developing, and the company doesn't know how much it will cost them in the future. So you do your cost benefit analysis based on rough estimates given by a competitor when they develop the same product, or based on your estimation of the effort it will require, the programming it will require, the resources it will require. And then the benefit, again, you do a rough estimate, like if your product makes if your goal is to make Azure 2x faster, then you can sort of come up to a conclusion of how much benefit customers are going to get out of it. So you do that entire analysis, you show it out in your research, and then you also have based on that, you develop a pricing model, right? How are you going to price the feature? Whether it's going to be competitor-based pricing or be value-based pricing. So that was what I was referring to in the business logic.
Thanks, Ankur. So we have the question where Ram asks, how a computer science student understand the technical aspects of the product? Maybe I think Pradeep can take this, or even Ankur, non-computer science. Yeah.
Should I?
Yeah, go ahead, Ankur.
So technically I am sort of a computer science student, so I don't know how to answer that. But
No, as a
Pradeep, you can
product
try.
manager, the technical details you should know is like what each technology is capable of. Like people would be fancily talking about AI, machine learning, etc. But you needn't get into the nitty-gritties of all the technology, as Manisha had pointed out earlier. You could
Yeah.
just search on YouTube, see how AI and machine learning are used, what are its capabilities. That's what a product manager is expected to know from our internship. That's what I learned. We are not expected to code or know the nitty-gritties. So it's
And I
just a
guess you
simple
can
effort from your side is sufficient to get the basic details of all these technologies.
and I guess you can just use the product, right? Just if it's some sort of online website, then just use the website on a regular basis for like a week to see what the user sees and feel what the user feels. So that way you build up, the relevant knowledge about the product.
Thank you, guys. So we have another question from Antriksh. So he says he's interning with Microsoft. He's working for Azure product. So he wants to get customer feedback for workflows and features, but considering it's a B2B space, he's not able to do that with the kind of customer connect. So talking to them on LinkedIn is not advised. So how we should go about that?
So that's relevant to what I was doing. So if you are working in the Azure product division, then your manager will have your customer contact details. Microsoft has a database, like it has, uh, Microsoft has its own channels of contacting customers. So use those channels. Ask a manager and mentor to connect you to their customers, because they'll know who the right decision maker is to connect to. And then there is another channel called, I mean, I shouldn't be publicly revealing this. I guess you can um, either contact us privately or ask a manager and mentor to connect you, because they'll have the necessary contact.
And also like one more thing, I'll be passing on the LinkedIn profiles of all the panelists today. So Antriksh, you can directly connect to Ankur to get more details on that. Yeah. Thank you. So regarding the business side and the pricing and business model question from the owner of OnePlus T, we have one more clarification saying that he specifically was asking about building pricing models. So for the clarification, he wrote that. So the previous question was his mentor was asking to concentrate on pricing and business instead of product. So he specifically is asking a question on building pricing models. So
should I take that? Or
yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So pricing model, again, it depends on your company's policy. There are multiple pricing models, right? You can have value-based pricing, competitor-based pricing, and a few other pricing models. If your company does competitor-based pricing, then you will also, like, even your future product will usually be competitor-based pricing. It will be similar. So that is one way of evaluating what pricing model you should use. Another one is that if your product has very clear benefits to the user, and you can justify the value and you can concretely put numbers to your value, then maybe you can do value-based pricing. Again, that is very company specific and very product specific.
So let me also add. So mostly it's very difficult to price a software. So usually there are separate pricing managers and all. But what you can do is mostly value-based pricing, where usually what they tell in Sprinklr is for if they spend $1 on your software, they should get a value of $10. So that's how you can price. So you can make a lot of approximations of value saving you're doing. Maybe your software is saving costs for you, like employee cost cutting or something like that, or it's giving you additional revenues, additional leads, something like that. You can make compilation of all those and then give justifiable numbers from secondary research, and then you'll get a probable value which you're providing to your customer. Then you could divide that by whatever factor and make a pricing out of that and see if it is comparable with that of competitors, and you can build such pricing models for your software.
Thank you. I think that was very insightful. So yeah, I'll go to the next question from Shubhankar again. So he's working for AppDynamics. So he asks, is there something he should keep in mind while asking questions to mentor or manager? So wondering if there's a fine line between asking for guidance or trying to be spoon.
Yeah, I'll take.
I think this is one of the questions which.
Yeah. So I think the wording of your questions or your interaction is very important here. So if you ask questions like, I did this, what will I do next? Today I did this, what is my next step? So those kind of questions come across as, trying to be spoon fed. Rather, your interaction should be, this is these, like I'm trying to solve this problem, and this is the line I'm thinking. These are the lines in which I'm thinking. So what is your perspective? Like, what other, what are the things that I should cover? Is there anything else that I need to look into? If what I'm doing is right, or do you want me to, get other perspective or things like that? Don't ask for a step-by-step approach of how you should be performing in your internship. Rather, get a broader idea from your managers. So I think they will appreciate that a lot. And if he tells you something, you try out different things and let him know that I tried this out, and this is what I learned. So is there anything else that I have, there are some things that you just don't know. So those kind of perspective you can get from him. But it is, I also experience this. It, for some interns, it is very difficult for the manager if you're expecting a very a process kind of a internship experience. So don't let that happen to you. Just get a broader perspective and keep him on the same page. Like, he knows what you're doing, and if he feels that you should be doing something else, he should be comfortable telling you that in the right time. That's it.
So, anyone else wants to add?
I mean, it's just another thing. Just please don't go to your manager without doing your homework. I mean, if you want to ask him a question, just look for all the resources if you can find them easily, or just ask your nearby colleague. Generally, if your mentor and manager are different, first step could be your mentor, not your manager directly. So, and again, second thing is, if you ask, I mean, if you don't ask the same question, same kind of question or same related question again and again, because their time is very valuable as a PM. So generally, they won't be very free between meetings. So that's all. Rest all Manisha covered in very detail.
Thanks, Manisha and Sandeep. So we have another question from SB. He asked, like, what's the take on development of app for onboarding new customers in bank? But I think I'm not sure if that's the right question for this context. So I think it looks like he's asking feedback on a development of app for onboarding new customers for a bank. I think SB, you can connect with any of the panelists to get feedback on the idea. So we will go with the next question. So Manisha writes, like, she's interning with Samsung. So her manager is very busy, and it is difficult to get a hold of him. So she doesn't get timely feedback on the work done, and was not introduced to other team too. So working on the project. So any suggestions on how to deal with this when there is a minimal feedback?
Yeah, so what I used to do is I set up a recurring meeting for once every week. So even if he's not available, he has to turn that meeting down. And so the purpose here is, yes, of course, there will be times when your manager will not have time for you, but he should know that, you tried to reach out, and because he was busy, he could not give you time. It's not your fault. So that has to come across well. So rather than, every week sending a meeting invite, I would say you put a recurring meeting invite so that he knows every Monday, 4 o'clock, my calendar is booked because I have a one-on-one with my intern, and he also plans accordingly. So that was something that helped me. And for the next question, like not being introduced to other team members. So if you have, your, I don't know what you use internally to see your organizational hierarchy. So you know who are the people who work on that team. And then you can directly, ping them over IM and ask them, just inform that I'm this new intern, I'm working on this, would you have some time to tell me about this? So informally you can do all that, figure out who are the people who are working with your manager on this, and then reach out to them, because everybody will be busy, and but you need to get your stuff done as well. So don't keep waiting. Find out different channels of interacting with multiple people.
Also, another technique for getting a slot with your manager is like you can, when you send a recurring invite or when you send a calendar invite, if he rejects, just ping him over IEMs and ask him for any suggested slot or any slot that he is available at. With. Then he suggests something and you send a calendar invite. Probably if he rejects that also, then again, I mean, probably he cannot reject twice or thrice after he only suggesting you sometime. That is some technique you can follow. Because I used to do that when because my manager used to be super busy.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Manisha, Sandeep again. So another question, I think follow-up question from the previous question of contacting guide or a mentor. So in case the guide and mentor are the same person, so if you have any questions in mind, like what questions not to ask them if guide and mentor are the same person. So any perspective on that?
So I would say don't pester them with everyday activities that you are doing. Like today, let's say you did user research, you should not ask them for the next steps. You should figure out, and it might be a good idea to ask them, out of these 4 things, what do you think should be done in priority, or what I should be concentrating on? Those kind of questions. If you ask direct questions, it feels like you are waiting for them to guide you through your whole internship. And from a PM, they don't expect that. They want you to be able to understand what things have to be done first, the timeline, prioritization. These are things these are the skills they are trying to look in you. So your questions should not revolve around that. Rather, you should ask, can you please connect me to the right people so I can take this forward? Own communication. So you can, responsibility and communication, you can ask them just to connect you to right people and not talk you through the whole thing. So that way they will know that, okay, this guy is trying to do this because he does not have a clue on whom to talk to. He is asking me this, but this is not a baseless question. So those kind of questions asked. Try not to make it a very methodical internship, because then they will feel that you need guidance at each point of time. And typically a PM should not be a person who needs guidance, because there should be a lot of ambiguity. There will be a lot of ambiguity, and you need to figure the stuff, like figure things out yourself, instead of each every day giving you commands and you are just executing them.
Thanks, Manisha. So I think we are near end of the session now. Yeah, so we have one more question. So before that, I think so if in the interest of other people, like if all the panelists are okay, we can extend the session by 10 more minutes if possible. Is that okay?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
I'm
works.
okay with
Yeah, thanks a lot. So yeah, so we have a question from Manisha. So she asks if should we include the whole work done before the mid review when project scope changed from initial 2 weeks. So whatever the work which was done in the first 2 weeks, if it's changed, should that be included in the review?
Yeah, so it again depends whom you are presenting. So let's say it is your manager who is already up to date with what you did, and then this whole thing changed, and then again this new thing. Then it doesn't make sense for you to present. You can just give a summary of one slider of your progress. Like, I started with this, and with this knowledge I transferred it to this, that kind of a thing. But if you are presenting to, let's say, some person who is higher up the ladder, then don't don't tell the whole process. You just tell what is the problem statement and how are you how are you, like what position are you in to reach there, what have you done which is in line with your problem statement. Don't keep beating around the bush that I did this, I did this and now it changed and this. So that decision you can take based on the audience of your presentation. So I hope you're getting me. So that person did not know what all you went through. Your manager needs to know, and if he's the person you're presenting, then it makes sense ki, just to summarize the process. But to a client or to a higher up leader, talk about impact. Why am I doing this? What is it going to lead to? Those kind of slides will be better rather than saying I did this, I did this, I did this. Because you might do 4 things, but just one of those things might be relevant for the final result. So concentrate on that.
So maybe just adding on to it, you can always have the appendix ready. So you could have some significant findings or understandings from the first 2 weeks. You can always have it in the appendix. And if there are questions like, is this all what you have done or something like that, then you could just pull out the appendix and say that first 2 weeks was this, and then my project scope changed, and then my topic changed and so on. So you can always have it in the appendix.
Ankur or Sandeep, do you want to add anything?
No, I'll just say that, yeah, so again, what Pradeep and Manisha said, appendix and, an impact, you can touch upon the fact that your project scope changed in the mid review, but in the final review, I guess you should not include that. Final review, you should only focus on your impact and what you did after the change scope. So that, it's a very clear presentation and the impact of whatever you've done comes out very clearly.
Okay, thanks, guys. So we don't have any other questions as of now. So I'll also take one more question, which was asked by another person. So like, so how would it be like if we don't get a PPO? Is the question, like what will the procedure be, or what they should do if there is no PPO offer rising from this internship? So how should they handle it?
I mean, I can take that because I too didn't get a PPO from when I worked at Amazon internship. So it's okay. I mean, I mostly your PM jobs are not very much dependent on how everything is rolling out these days. It's fine. So if you are capable enough and if you know the concepts and all these PM concepts, and if you have done some meaningful work in your internship to talk in an interview, or you have very good chances to get through any of the company's interviews. There are many companies that are hiring PMs, and one advantage in India that I have seen a recent statistic. I mean, there are not many eligible PM candidates, but there are many jobs. So if you can hone your skills better, then there are many jobs. And of course, there are other ways to get into org, like there are case competitions through which you can get PPOs and PPIs. I myself got into Myntra through a case competition only. So it need not be always the regular placement process as well. There are many options. And anyways, there are other things as well. Any anything you guys want to add, Manisha?
Please
Yeah, one
use
thing.
this. Yeah, sorry. I'll just go ahead.
Yeah,
Please use this internship as a learning opportunity. Like, don't stress upon PPO. So this is a tough time for all the companies. So don't worry much on the PPO. They're all from good colleges, and learning from this internship can easily give you a good shot at the final interviews. So don't worry much about.
one thing I want to add is that, this whole entire coronavirus thing, so it showed that the tech sector is a very sturdy sector and it's an expanding sector, right? Because you see that a lot of finance internships and jobs are, many people are facing problems. Consulting jobs are starting in July, August, all the way up to January, right? And many of the tech companies, they have, started hiring and, started training their employees and interns. So I guess it just highlights the fact that technology is actually an essential good, as you can say now. So even if you don't get a PPO, I'm sure there's just so many tech opportunities, not in a big company, doesn't have to be in a big company. because I myself worked in a small startup with 5 people for like 4 years. There are just so many opportunities in small companies and startups as well.
Thank you guys. I think, yeah, so we don't have any more questions. So I think we can end with this. So any last thoughts you would want us to leave with?
Nothing, as Pradeep said, don't worry too much over the PPO. Just enjoy and have good learning experience in your internship. Seriously, I mean, if you get a PPO, don't get a PPO, it doesn't matter after some time. So all the best, guys. That's from my side. Guys, go.
Yeah, all the best. Do well in your final and all your mid reviews.
Same from me. All the best for the mid review and the best of luck for the final review.
Best guys, don't take a lot of tension. This will all pass. It's just an internship after all. So just take this as a learning experience.
And you can reach out to any of us anyways if you have any doubts or any
Yes.
concerns.
Yeah, sure. Anytime.
So thanks a lot, guys. So this has been really insightful session for all the people here.